Are we live?
Stand by one moment.
Like we're live.
Yep. And you're live. Thank you.
Okay, this is the Joint Homeless Subcommittee meeting for Thursday, January 7th, 2021. The time is 10:03 a.m. And we will call this meeting to order. Is there a volunteer to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure, I'll lead us. That's fine.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, should we do the roll call?
Sure.
All right.
Sir. Okay. Chair Walsh.
Yes. Present.
Chair Ewing.
Present.
Subcommittee member Bowden.
Here.
And Subcommittee member Leffler.
Aye.
Okay, we'll move on to our special orders of business. Item A is the consideration and selection of the Joint Homeless Subcommittee's special meeting date and time for the next meeting. This is we can push this off to later in the meeting if you'd like to, but if you're comfortable moving forward with the date and time now.
I propose we push it off to later time because I think some of the things that we're going to be doing here might have us meet sooner than we normally would. So
Yeah,
that's another proposal.
I agree.
Get into a motion or?
We might as well make it a motion.
Okay. I propose that we table the setting of the next meeting until as our last item on today's minute.
I second.
Okay, Chair Walsh,
Aye.
Vice Chair Ewing,
Aye.
Subcommittee member Bowden,
Aye.
and Subcommittee member Leffler.
Aye.
Okay. Item 5 on the agenda, approve the minutes from October 5th, 2020's special meeting of the Joint Homeless Subcommittee.
Just need a motion to approve it, guys.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
Okay, Committee member Walsh, or excuse me,
Aye.
Chair Walsh,
Aye.
Vice Chair Ewing,
Aye.
Subcommittee member Bowden,
Aye.
and Subcommittee member Leffler.
Aye.
Okay, those pass 4-0. All right. Item 6 is our oral and written communications. The city has not received any oral or written communications regarding this agenda or this meeting. And the next item is item 9, unfinished business, the Joint Subcommittee work plan. This is a follow-up discussion of the draft work plan submitted to the council on November 17th of 2020. And I will turn this over to Chair Walsh.
Okay, thank you, Adam. And just remind me if we'll need to make this into a motion or not, but what I am proposing that we do after discussions with other members of our committee or the members here of our committee and with some city council people is to retool our work plans into a system that would allow us to, I think, better attain the goals of our work. And also the overall purpose would be to help the new incoming homeless outreach coordinator. The city has voted to fund such a position, and some of the things that we were going to do are essentially going to be their job. Now, do I need to do this into a motion, Adam, or can we just move along with the talk?
I think what we can do is have a discussion generally about the direction that the subcommittee would like to go in, and then maybe organize this into one or two general motions. But I would like to get some more information about the direction that you're proposing moving in.
What I am
As
proposing,
far as that position is concerned, and what you're contemplating specifically.
what I am proposing is that we utilize our efforts to obtaining the basic who, what, and where information of homelessness in San Clemente. In other words, gather all the names and numbers and for different areas, like who provides this, for instance, what does FAM do? Who are their contacts there? What is CityNet? How do they work? Different numbers, Sheriff's Department, who are all the players inside there so there's this person coming in on this homeless outreach committee. They'll be able to, it's going to basically be a playbook for them so that they will be able to just at a glance look at it. I think this not only will save countless staff hours, but because eventually they're going to have staff do these type of things, is also, I think it's a great at a glance guide for the city council and for staff. So, because right now, if you want to try to find something out, you have to make a number of calls to figure out, okay, who is this person that is over here in this organization and what are they doing? And so that would be some of the information as we go through it. I can give you probably a little bit more detailed areas that I'm looking at, I was thinking about. So thoughts?
Well, I'm hearing, I just want to make sure that I'm hearing you right. You're talking about a list of resources that would assist this new position to understand the resources available to the city of San Clemente. But I've heard the word playbook, and I want to tease out some of the differences that those two things usually encompass. The playbook is more of directions about actions, whereas the list of resources is just is more of a reference point for the position. So are we talking about more of a reference document or a list that could be used for reference for this?
Yes. Yeah. Essentially, so perhaps the wording playbook is misused. So maybe, like you say, a point of reference or a roadmap, however you want to term it. But yes, you're correct. Okay.
So one of the work plan projects that the subcommittee has encompasses, I think encompasses what you're talking about right now.
You're right. That would be the one on information gathering and presentation. Is that the one?
Yes.
Yeah. And essentially, yes, you're right. That would be, we put that into more of our main focus right there to obtain that information.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I reviewed our work plan, and it's pretty all encompassing of anything, at least and I think Gary and I chatted and he used the word ambiguous. Yeah, we cover a ton of topics, and they're ambiguous in that they're just an outline of what we could possibly do, and which is good that it's all encompassing, because it's easier to narrow something down than add something later. But I think what Gary is trying to do, and I think with a good point, is prioritizing our first few goals here of what we should get started on sooner or later. Looking at the fact we're going to have a homeless outreach person here soon. So I think that's what it is I think our work plan covers most of the things we need to do. We just need to narrow them down and prioritize them.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that too. I think that in general, it seems like the council would want us to just kind of roll back what we have as plans and focus on, a smaller list of tasks. And I think the information gathering would be, the work plan item that most aligns with what seems to be the direction that they're giving. And the only thing I would want to make note of and sort of emphasize is the fact that there is a city document already available with resources on it. I don't know if there's a sharing ability on this, but it's kind of a pamphlet. It's called City of San Clemente Community Hotlines and Homeless Resources. It's available on the website, and it does list out, a majority, I would say, if not all, organizations out there that are addressing homelessness in San Clemente. But to Gary's point, I think it's more general hotline numbers. It's the organization's numbers, so it's not individuals' numbers. So we may be able to work on a kind of internal document that could serve the purposes of our homeless outreach coordinator. So I think it's something worthwhile for a couple of us to work on.
Yeah, and the one thing, Tyler, on that, I know the phone bank list that you're talking about, and I'm not sure when it has been updated last. Also, I know there's a few things on there that aren't even applicable anymore. So I think we could take a look at that maybe as one of our things and just make sure that everything is current on that list. And I think that list was more for citizens information as opposed to, specific programs that the city actually utilizes.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
also a part of this, I was thinking that we would, not just the names and numbers of those type of people, but also it would extend out into the different financial people that are responsible or that are possible, city, different grants, county grants, state grants, federal grants, because that landscape's changed a lot just over the last year of what's out there and some of the programs and stuff. So again, it would just update all that and allow this person to come in and understand, okay, here's what they have, here's what they haven't done, and that kind of thing. So that was my idea of that. And also that it's kind of a short-term goal for this committee, that this isn't our overall proposal goal for the entire committee's life, is that we would not only use this as a short-term project and get these things done, but then after the homeless outreach coordinator comes in to position, then they would, I am anticipating, have different requests for our committee, and we would be able to work hand in glove with that person towards the common goal.
And perhaps even in collaboration with these organizations, sort of as we listed on another one of our work plan items, the sort of, which one was that? Communication and coordination. And we can always refine that, but having, somewhat of a collaborative or some group that is able to meet not only with each other, but also with the city's homeless outreach coordinator on a relatively consistent basis, so that we're collaborating efforts rather than duplicating efforts. That seems like something really valuable that we could start doing groundwork on now to prepare this new person for.
Agreed. I think those two things, the gathering of this information and that will probably just coalesce into one thing, really.
Sure.
So can I ask a couple of questions here? This is Bill. Yeah, hi. What's the timing on the hiring of the new staff person? Are they looking to start with somebody right away, or February or March? When do they want to bring the new person on board?
Hi, Cecilia Gallardo Daly, Community Development Director. I can address
Hi.
that question, Bill. I think that's a great
Yes.
question. Hi. So we are working with HR on creating the position. So that homeless outreach worker position currently does not exist. So we're coordinating with HR on creating the position. Once that's finalized, we have to get city council approval to put that position in our budget, and then we'll go out for recruitment. So there is going to be a little bit of time before we can recruit, interview, and onboard somebody into that position. So, you know, it could be June before we have an outreach worker working with us full time.
Okay. And then let's see, in terms of identifying resources, are we talking about local resources or are we talking about regional? We're not talking in that breath about going out to visit other agencies, are we, or other homeless shelter processes, or are we talking about just staying within our own local San Clemente area resource identification?
Well, I don't
That's
think
right.
I don't anticipate us limiting ourselves right now. And one of our project goals was permanent and temporary housing and shelter solutions. That one, I think, until we get direction from the city council, will probably be one we'd put on hold. That would be one where you're going to probably need to go out and see things.
Yeah.
But that one is one I think that we wait until the city council gives us direction. We present that. If they say, hey, we don't like that one, or they might say, yes, we want to go that direction, then we decide, okay, how we're going to prioritize this. So I don't think at this point we can eliminate that, but certainly there are so many aspects to the homelessness community that to say we're only going to limit it to just a small little area here, I don't think is going to work. One aspect is that the fact that the county needs to step up and start providing more services down to the South County here. So that's, you know, we're going to have to make contacts with and get that groundwork laid out, you know, get the county to start committing down here. So
are we looking for a database of the people, their names and demographics and that sort of thing as well?
Yes, that's the initial thrust of this, is to just create, again, like I said, an at a glance thing where you can see, here's all the players and everything like that. Here's who's doing what, and here's where we are, so that we know, you know, exactly how that is. It's just going to be a great tool for us, and we just have to try to put this together.
Yeah, I think that'll be really helpful. I know the people at FAM very well, and I've spent a lot of time with Mary. And I do know they have a database, and I don't know what CityNet had by way of a database, but it probably won't take too long to put together a pretty comprehensive list.
Right, and I'm also thinking of, you know, like all the churches. We have a lot of churches in community here that provide outreach to the homeless, and it's a really uncoordinated effort. Each one of them kind of act independently of each other.
Yeah.
And so it would be good to kind of bring them under one umbrella and see if maybe we or the homeless outreach coordinator, when they come in, can organize them. So again, gather all their information. Who does what? What does Presbyterian Church do? What does Shoreline Church do? What does this church do? You know, and find out and make sure we're not just duplicating efforts out there, or they are anyway.
At CityNet's last presentation to the council on their update, I was surprised to hear that they don't know how many entities in the city are offering Project Room Key. I mean, they don't know who is. That we have a lot of churches that are giving rooms to homeless, and they are offering that service, and nobody really knows about it. I don't know if it's because they want to keep it quiet, or if it's just because of a lack of communication. But we should definitely reach out to the entities in our city and find out who's actually participating now in homeless support. Because I know The city doesn't know that, and I know city doesn't know that, and I doubt that BAM knows all the entities that are participating.
Yep. Good observation. I wonder, let's see, I just lost my train of thought. In terms of the new staff person, if they would require any or seek any help in interviewing or sourcing people or anything like that. Cecilia, maybe you can answer that one. We could offer to be of assistance in selecting the person if you think that would be appropriate.
Yeah, I don't know at this point, Bill. I'll check with HR, and we'll keep in mind the offer from the subcommittee about that. Thank you.
Okay.
One thing I just wanted to add real quick is that I think would be useful for us to work on is looking at other cities and what they're doing, specifically in terms of homeless outreach. And it seems, from the direction the council's given, that they do want us to focus on homeless outreach as opposed to housing or shelter space. So in focusing on that, I think we could just do a review. And I think in our work plan, it'd be the comparative analysis section, and we can modify that because it's kind of academic, and we may not need to be so academic with it. But looking at Dana Point, for example, who has something that kind of we could look to for direction as we move forward, but other cities in some radius, just to see who they have on staff working on it, who they have contracted working on it, how they have themselves organized with groups, organizations in their communities, and kind of just what the scenario is, so that once we have a homeless outreach coordinator, they can use those different models to come up with one of our own.
Sounds good.
Okay, with all that in mind, why don't we go over each of the work plans and decide which ones to modify, which ones to keep, which ones to delay, and everything. Do you guys have those available to you, or?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So we, and there's no particular order. So the one titled Communications and Coordination of Homeless Outreach.
Well, I think that's what we're talking about right now. So that's the one that we should prioritize. One of the ones we should prioritize, I think.
Yeah, that was the one that.
My apologies, subcommittee members. If it's at all possible, if we could go through this in the order of the work plan, I'm going to be taking notes on your discussion, and I'd like to not miss any by jumping around.
Okay.
And if it's easier, I can tell you what the order is, and we can just start with those.
That would be easier because I don't remember any particular order.
Okay, so the first one is the community forums / public outreach.
Yeah.
Well, I'll jump in on that because I worked with Tyler on this one, and I think this is extremely important, with the asterisk with under COVID, until we can have a forum. I just don't see this as being something that would be a Zoom type thing. I think we really need to have the opportunity to have the community come together and be able to express their opinions, similar to the one that Tyler set up before that we had that was really successful. So while I think it's extremely important, I would think we'd have to at least put it on the shelf for a little bit until we can find a way to facilitate the thing in an effective manner.
I agree with that.
That could be a good way to introduce the new person, maybe to the community too.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that time, if we're talking June, I think that's probably a reasonable assumption of maybe when we might be able to get back to some sense of normalcy as far as community meetings.
Yeah, from your words to God's ears.
Yeah.
So Adam, do you think we should make a motion on each one of these, or as to what we want to do?
Adam, can't we kind of put this together through discussion and then make one motion?
You're on mute.
You're muted, Adam.
All right, sorry about that. So yes, we could do it both ways. I think it's easiest. It depends on the amount of changes that are being proposed. If there's a lot of wordsmithing within each one, it would be easiest to do it one at a time. If we're talking about keeping a bunch and just axing a couple, that's an easy one motion type of action. So, does anybody anticipate significant changes to any particular work plan project, or in everybody's review, are we just talking about maybe removing a couple work plan projects?
I think it's more of a prioritization, and I don't think we'll be removing a bunch.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's just we'll be rewriting some of the purpose of it, the goals and stuff like that. I think on some of them it might be a little bit more extensive, just like I say, the gathering of all that information, all that. But overall, no, they'll probably all kind of stay until the city council gives us other direction. But there's a couple I thought we might eliminate, but yeah. So
Okay, then you know what? Just for the ease of this, let's just take a motion on each one. That way, it's
clear.
If we get to one that has a lot of changes on it, we'll just avoid a very confusing motion at that time.
If I could offer an alternative opinion here, I think that in considering the council's review of this, if they read the document to be largely similar to what it was before, my anticipation is that they might send it back to us again. And so I wonder if not necessarily to nix some of these, but to kind of put them on the back burner in our subcommittee's review, or to have them, in our back pocket, so to speak, and just present to the council the ones that we want to work on now. And then, once we've accomplished those, then to come back and maybe add things like community forums. Because I don't think the council, if we were to submit to the council that we want to do community forums, that might be a snag on our ability to get to work on the things that they actually want us to do. So it seems that in an effort to get the council to approve it, which is at this point what our goal is, I think it might be easier if we simplify the document that we're sending to them.
Yeah, and I've got a question. I know that this didn't get approved because Kathy had an issue with it and sent it back. But what was the direction when it was sent back? What specifically did the council? What was their recommendation on? Did they just say we don't like it, or was there something specific that they wanted altered? Because I haven't heard that.
I can tell you that some of the questions were if it wasn't a duplication of what the Human Affairs Committee has already been doing. So they kind of felt it maybe was duplication of work and efforts on some of it, from what I could tell. So
yeah, and I think and Tyler is going to have the answer to this, but like in the Public Safety Committee, I know we had homeless as part of our work plan, and everybody there was very happy to transfer that to the homeless subcommittee, and so I'm thinking that as far as the duplication, is the Human Affairs Committee kind of putting on the homeless subcommittee things that they have been working on, but kind of just want to let the homeless subcommittee run with those? Is that the philosophy?
Yes.
As far as I recall, yeah, the work plan item is specifically the subcommittee, so there's not really anything outside of that other than the subcommittee.
Yeah, is that Bill? Is that your understanding also?
That's my understanding. You betcha. Yeah. Okay.
Well, see, so I think that the council's worry about that duplication shouldn't be a concern, because we're taking that portion of Human Affairs Committee off the plate. So maybe I think there might have been a misunderstanding as maybe the communication within our committee that we do have Human Affairs members on our committee here. So we shouldn't be having a problem with duplication, I wouldn't think.
No, I don't think there is any problem with
Okay.
that.
There are 2 items specifically related to homelessness on the Human Affairs Committee's work plan. One is a homelessness work plan for the city. And this is, the goal of this one is to finish the Human Affairs Committee work plan started in 2019 for the city's homeless situation and deliver it to both City Council and the Joint Homeless Subcommittee. A second item is to appoint 2 members to the Joint Homeless Subcommittee.
We've done that.
The goal of that one is to then address homeless issues within the city as part of that. You know, I will say, hopefully everybody had a chance to listen to the portions of the City Council meetings where they discussed the Joint Homeless Subcommittee's work plan, or excuse me, the Human Affairs Committee's work plan. The dates for that, I believe, were September 15th and October 6th. There was a bit of discussion. A lot of it was central to the Human Affairs Committee's work plan, but the direction from the City Council was that this subcommittee's work plan should be reviewed and represented to council after the subcommittee has a chance to review it, to ensure that it's consistent with the direction that the City Council gave to the Human Affairs Committee about their work plan. In reviewing those meetings, there were a few items that came up. One was that the desire for the Joint Homeless Subcommittee's work plan, which they did talk about specifically on October 6th, was that work plan should be within the parameters of the City Council's previously directed actions for city staff. So one of the subcommittee members mentioned the temporary or permanent shelter options. You know, the City Council has discussed that quite a bit over the last couple of years, and that might be an area of inconsistency with the council's previously provided direction. But then the other aspect of the consistency is you know what the City Council directed the Human Affairs Committee to do. So if everybody's had a chance to review that information, hopefully that will help inform today's review of this work plan.
Okay, well, I don't know what the City Council's direction of the Human Affairs Committee was. I don't think I've heard that.
I can speak to it, I believe, and if I recall, when they sent the work plan back to the Human Affairs Committee, it was specifically, and it was Kathy's note again, was that it was lacking work on a sort of resource guide of nonprofits within the city that she wanted the Human Affairs Committee to work on. And so that was my impression, was that, you know, she wanted to give us the same note that we should be working on somewhat of a resource guide, which I think is what we're talking about here. But I could be mistaken. It's pretty, you know, challenging and honestly really frustrating because we just get direction during council meetings that are sometimes inconsistent and not very clear. And there's not a lot of ownership, you know, that follows up with that. So from the council. So
well,
it's tough.
Adam, is I think you're kind of getting the gist of this. Is I think we will be consistent with the Human Affairs Committee. Is there a way that you can write this up and present it to where the City Council understands that? You know what I'm saying? I think we're really all together on this. It just seems like it's the communication here. There's a glitch somehow.
If I could just interject here, one other piece of information that the council provided when they postponed deliberation of the joint subcommittee's work plan was this idea of community forums. They thought that the community forum should really be the purview of the City Council to direct and organize. And they specifically mentioned that as an area where they wanted consistency with what direction they gave to Human Affairs Committee. So they gave the Human Affairs Committee similar direction that they not be responsible for town halls and forums, that be the purview of the city council. So I just wanted to provide that clarification, that something that was a little bit more specific with respect to the work plan.
Well, with that information, I would propose that we just postpone this one. That'd be the number one. If the city council is saying they don't want us to do that, then let's just pull that one off the dais right there.
Yeah, we could always bring it back. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the ones maybe that we just reword in our work plan, is that the Joint Homeless Subcommittee will, participate at the council's direction with any community forums that the council deems, necessary, or something, something like that. That more, instead of that we're initiating them, that we're participating at the city council's direction. Maybe something like that.
I'll take this opportunity to respond, Rick, to Subcommittee Member Leffler, to a couple things that you had mentioned earlier, as well as get to that point. So Chair Walsh will be presenting this item to the council when it returns. And I think that, the discussion that we've had covers the explicit direction that the council gave to the subcommittee in terms of reviewing this work plan. However, as far as the, every single item that the subcommittee will be involved in, there's a general category of and other duties as assigned that the city council can direct the subcommittee to tackle at any point in time, including being involved in community forums. So the work plan is just those specific items that the subcommittee will take charge of doing themselves, but it's not the complete menu of things that the subcommittee could do, as the council could direct additional actions later. So based on the discussions that we've had and Cecilia's input, maybe let's just go through each of the items, determine whether that appears consistent with the direction from the city council, keep it, remove it, amend it, what have you, and then I will work with Committee Member Walsh to ensure that the staff report presented to the city council encompasses the discussion that we've had today, fully, as they take their next steps to review this once presented.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, and I would, going back to Tyler's point, our goal should be to get whatever our work plan is approved by the city council, so we can move on, and maybe with your, Adam, and Cecilia's input on this as we go through, maybe you could offer your opinions on, as we go through these, the best way to, whether it's either remove it or to amend it or change it. Maybe you guys could help us through that as we go. That would make this the best possible chance to get it approved. If you're willing.
Yeah,
okay.
No, absolutely. Yeah, we can provide any background that staff may have on individual items as we go through it.
Okay, so let's look at number one then. That's the first one we've been talking about, the community forums and public outreach. It would seem to me that might be a possible elimination, because it seems like the council said, no, you don't do that. So what do you guys think? I mean,
I've got no, even, Tyler and I worked on that. I think it's important. I'd have no problem removing it, because I know that myself, and I'm sure Tyler is not shy about speaking to city council members and, giving our opinions. And I'm sure that if we needed to, we could probably convince the city council that maybe one was needed, and we could help them do it. So having on the work plan, I don't think is going to preclude us from making it happen when it needs to happen.
Yeah, and I wanted to add that I don't think that this means we're burying it for good. I mean, to me, it's basically just off our agenda right now, and we could
Yeah.
propose it later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. And Bill, were you going to say something? I saw your light come on.
No, it's just, do we need a motion on this? Do we need?
Well, at first, I just want to get a sense,
Yeah.
because I don't know. Should we say postpone or eliminate? What do you guys think?
Let's say,
It'd be eliminated from our current work plan.
Yeah, I'm good with that, and I'll make that motion. I move that we remove the category of community forums from our current work plan.
We need a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, Chair Walsh,
Aye.
Vice Chair Ewing,
aye.
Subcommittee Member Bowden,
Aye.
and Subcommittee Member Leffler.
Aye.
Okay, that passes 4-0 to remove the community forums and public outreach work plan project from the proposed work plan. The second item in order of the work plan is the performance measures of homeless outreach and service providers. I'll begin this with a little bit of staff background, which is just a reiteration of what's already been discussed at this meeting today. The idea for this was really to identify current and proposed homeless outreach services within San Clemente and review the effectiveness and adequacy with which these services are delivered. I think most of the focus here was on the city contracted service providers. In light of the recent direction from council related to the new homeless outreach coordinator, the subcommittee may want to consider how necessary this item is going to be, based on the fact that that contracted service is now going to be pretty much an in-house service provided by city staff.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. The only, I guess, question I would have is, when we were contracted with CityNet and also I think with Mercy House prior, there was a format and there was sort of a numerical layout of contacts that were made and the success of those contacts. I wonder who would be making those contacts. Is it just the homeless outreach coordinator? Would we have other city staff members making those contacts? Would we, once the homeless outreach coordinator is hired, would we hire then a contracted organization to do that? I'm just kind of, this is just off the top question. My understanding is Dana Point has, their assistant city manager who's kind of their homeless outreach coordinator, and they're also contracted with Mercy House. But I was curious what we plan to do.
Yeah, I can speak to that. The idea is that this homeless outreach worker position would fill the role that CityNet currently serves for us now. So right now, CityNet brings in contract workers, and they come in a couple days a week, so many hours a day, and they work with our staff, our code compliance staff, our sheriff's department, homeless outreach team. And the idea is that we have our own in-house person that will actually be making contact with individuals who are experiencing homelessness. And they'll do that in coordination with our code compliance staff and the sheriff's department team. So what we're really hoping is that by having someone internal, in-house, it's going to be easier to coordinate, easier to direct the work, and easier to be accountable to the city council and be responsive when issues come up.
So Cecilia, we won't be contracting with somebody like CityNet or FAM or any of those entities that have been attempting to manage our homeless outreach. So they're going to be eliminated.
So we won't be contracting with CityNet for homeless outreach services. it doesn't mean that we wouldn't still partner with FAM for assistance to families who are on the threat of becoming homeless or who are homeless. So in terms of our resources, we do have money that we get from HUD in the form of community development block grant funds that we on a regular basis allocate to FAM to help provide social services. So I don't expect that will stop. I believe that will continue. So so that is a different chunk of money that we allocate to FAM. As far as this position would fully work as a social or as a homeless outreach worker, and we will not be paying a third party to do that service.
And will that homeless outreach person also be tasked with continuing to monitor the performance of whoever we use? You know, if FAM's involved and we're paying them any money, I think that's what the community concern and the council concern has been in the past, is that their city net comes in and gives their presentation and says, well, we contacted 600 people, or we gave rides that, well, where did you take them? Well, we don't know. And I think that's what the concern is. So will we have in place with this homeless outreach person, will they be monitoring the effectiveness of whoever we're using? Is that, you think that'll be part of the job?
So it'll certainly be their job to make contact, identify generally, not specifically, who those contacts are, and report on how successful those contacts were or what came of those contacts. So those are the kinds of statistics that we need on an ongoing, regular basis to determine whether or not we're being successful or whether or not we need to adjust our resources or our work program. So that will definitely be something that happens. With respect to other organizations in San Clemente that receive funds from the city for social service programs, they are required as recipients of city money to submit to us reports on a quarterly basis regarding who they help, how they've helped them, and how many they've helped. So that's something that we receive on a regular basis. And they actually expend the money first. And I'll give you an example, FAM or Camino Health. They expend the money first. On a quarterly basis, they have to provide us statistics that demonstrate that they've served San Clemente residents, how many San Clemente residents they've served, and in what way. And then we will reimburse them. So there is accountability on the social service side of things.
Good.
Okay.
So it seems overall on this that this is going to be the job of the homeless outreach coordinator. So I think the proposal on this would be, excuse me, is to eliminate this from our work plan, since it's going to be part of the homeless outreach coordinator's job.
Yeah.
Is that a motion, Chair Walsh?
Yeah, I was just kind of clarifying, you know, kind of bring us back to center there on that. But I can make a motion of that we would eliminate the performance measures of homeless outreach and service providers. No second? I need a second.
Do we have a second?
I can second that.
Okay, motion by Walsh, second by Subcommittee Member Bowden, to eliminate the performance measures of homeless outreach and service providers work plan project. Let's see, Chair Walsh?
Aye.
Vice Chair Ewing?
Aye.
Subcommittee Member Bowden?
Aye.
And Subcommittee Member Leffler.
Don't anybody take this personally, but I'm going to be a no.
Okay, that motion passes 3-0 to remove the performance measures of homeless outreach and service providers work plan project.
Isn't it gonna be 3-1?
I'm sorry, 3-1. Sorry, my apologies.
Gee, thanks, Adam, for all your support.
I got the 3 right. Okay, so the next work plan project in order of the work plan is comparative analysis. The purpose of this one, homelessness is a regional, state, and national issue. Through the use of comparative analysis, the subcommittee proposes to improve the city's understanding of the larger issues surrounding homelessness, such as its causes and impacts, and identify opportunities to implement homeless service programs in other jurisdictions which have proven successful.
So I could kind of start off on this one. I think we should keep this, but simplify it. I don't think we really need to, and this will really be the work of our homeless outreach coordinators, is to come up with that data of age, and so on, and have their own analysis of that. And all we really need to do in our work is to look at what other cities are doing in a more general sense. And so, I think we could probably change the title and probably some of the verbiage. And I would probably say we should eliminate goals number 1 and 2. And just keep number 3 and 4 to just say, maybe not using comparative analysis, but just saying identify and compare successful homeless services being performed in other jurisdictions and determine whether programs in other jurisdictions have applicability in San Clemente.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I agree. It sounds good.
I think to one degree, we can kind of determine just through organizations that are already here how many homeless we have. But I do think it's a wide range of numbers. And but for our purposes, I do agree that probably eliminating those 2 is neither here nor there to the comparative analysis aspect of this.
Okay, if that's the discussion on this item, if Subcommittee Member Bowden, did you want to turn that proposal into a motion?
Yeah, I guess my only question to send out is, should we keep the title as comparative analysis? Is that fine? I don't have a preference, I guess, but I just don't want it to be misleading to what we're actually doing. I guess we might be analyzing, but we also might just be researching, looking for some feedback here.
I think comparative analysis is fine.
Okay.
I mean, it's just kind of a general term. It's kind of hard to research and gather without doing any analysis,
Sure.
So there will be some analyzing.
Sure.
But we won't be necessarily, even though we're analyzing it, we won't be necessarily making recommendations or coming up with solutions. We're still just gathering.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to keep the comparative analysis work plan item in our work plan, but to remove or to strike the lines 1 and 2 of the purpose up to where the word identify. So simply to say, identify opportunities to implement homeless services programs in other jurisdictions. Well, I guess we might want to change the verbiage there, but identify opportunities to implement homeless services programs which have proven successful in other jurisdictions. And then strike goals 1 and 2.
Can I interject before we get a second and move on this motion? Is that, and Adam, tell me if this is possible. Would it be possible for us to take something like this, rework it, and when we reschedule our next meeting, schedule it before the next city council meeting, come back with something that is better? Because this might take a little bit of work to, retool this. Because I'm looking at like number 3, it says use comparative analysis, identify and compare successful homeless services being performed in other jurisdictions. And that's, whether they're successful or not, we don't know really. But I think it would be more that we're just going to identify and present homeless services in other communities, so that it's an understanding of that. This is what they do here. This is what they do there, without any kind of opinion on it, without any, success stories or whatever, and let that be figured out in the future, whether that fits for our community.
Yeah, Gary, instead of using successful, what if we just say services utilized by other cities and
Right,
leave it at
exactly.
that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
One term that we tend to use when it comes to surveying other cities is best practices. So maybe review of best practices of other jurisdictions, homeless outreach services.
Yeah, I think maybe an easy fix would be on goal number 3 to strike using comparative analysis, but start the sentence with identify and compare best management practices or best practices in homeless services being performed in other jurisdictions.
That's good.
that sounds good.
Yeah, I can amend my motion to reflect what Adam just said.
Yes.
That would require us changing the purpose at the top also.
Could call it identification of strategies in other jurisdictions, or best practices, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah, the best practices as a project name would probably be pretty sufficient. As far as the purpose goes, Chair Walsh, based on the use of the term best practices, Subcommittee Member Bowden, would you propose any additional rewrite of the purpose? You had struck a little bit of that. Maybe if you want to just go ahead and amend your motion at this time.
Sure. So I'll amend my motion.
Kind
of start at the top. Just amend my motion to reflect the project name of best practices, and amend the purpose to read identify opportunities to implement best practices of homeless services programs in other jurisdictions, and then to strike goals 1 and 2, and then in goal 3 to strike using comparative analysis, and to say identify and compare best practices of homeless services being performed in other jurisdictions. I think I got that right.
Yeah, that sounds good. I second the motion then?
Absolutely. So we have a motion by Subcommittee Member Bowden, second by Vice Chair Ewing. Chair Walsh?
I just want to confirm that if we will be able to see this finished product before we submit it to the City Council. Will we be able to do that?
If all of the changes are, if the subcommittee ultimately makes a decision to alter the work plan and have it sent forth to the City Council, it would be viewable, Chair Walsh, by you, in that you're the one presenting the item to the City Council. So so I would work with you beforehand, but this would in draft form be published on the city's website beforehand as part of the agenda packet for the City Council. If the changes are significant enough that the subcommittee would like to see it in draft form again before approving it for the City Council, that would require another meeting for staff to adjust everything.
Okay.
Adam, if I could ask a question. So council requested this return in February, correct? So is there time to have a meeting between now and when this goes back to council in February for the committee to review the final changes?
Yes, it would be tight, but I don't, off the top of my head, I don't remember if the council directed this for a specific meeting in February. If it's the first meeting in February, it's going to be very tight. If it can be the second meeting in February, the subcommittee could meet again at the end of January or even the very first week of February, and we'd probably be able to make that the publishing deadlines.
I can say that I feel comfortable with what we've done so far in approving it today. That's my inclination, but maybe if we get to the end and we don't feel comfortable without seeing a draft, then we can decide that and when we vote on when our next meeting will be.
Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. I mean, so far what we've done, I wouldn't have to see a draft of anything we've done so far. It seems like the wording is pretty good. So as we move forward, maybe that will change.
Okay, so we still have the motion by Subcommittee Member Bowden, second Vice Chair Ewing. Chair Walsh,
Aye.
Vice Chair Ewing,
Aye.
Subcommittee Member Bowden,
Aye.
and Subcommittee Member Leffler.
Aye.
Okay, that item passes 4-0 to alter, but keep the comparative analysis at this point being renamed to best practices.
Adam, and just a quick question for you on that rewrite. Who's going to be doing that rewrite?
Staff will be doing that rewrite.
Okay.
So we'll review the video, make sure that the word by word we approve it or we amend it as approved by the Joint Homeless Subcommittee.
Okay.
All right. The next item is information gathering and presentation. And I will say this on behalf of staff. In my review of the City Council's direction, the Human Affairs Committee's review of their work plan, and anything else pertaining to what the subcommittee is doing today, this one seems acceptable in its current form. In fact, this is the item that we were discussing earlier related to the information that would assist the incoming homeless outreach coordinator position. So I'll turn this over to the committee.
Well, I move that we accept this item as information gathering as it is written.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Subcommittee Member Bowden. Chair Walsh,
Aye.
Vice Chair Ewing,
Aye.
Subcommittee Member Bowden,
Aye.
and Subcommittee Member Leffler.
Aye.
Okay, that item passes 4-0 to maintain information gathering and presentation work plan project as currently drafted. The next one is the permanent and temporary housing and shelter solutions. Unless Ms. Gallardo-Daly has something else to input, I've provided a little bit of background on this in my comments earlier. Otherwise, I'll turn it over to the committee to consider.
Yeah, just kind of as we discussed earlier, it seems that the focus here is on homeless outreach and not so much on housing. I think the council would probably want to focus on shelter solutions themselves. And so I would make a motion that we strike this from our current work plan.
Yeah, just a little discussion before I will second that. But yeah, I think there's adequate room in here to where if the council, when they start addressing this, and they will be addressing some issues, I know for sure. If we listen to the last campaign, there was plenty of talk about some possible solutions. But that being said, if there is specific need for our committee to assist in that, the council can direct us to do that, and that will clarify everything. So I will second Tyler's motion to strike this part of our work plan.
Okay, we have a motion by Subcommittee Member Bowden, second by Subcommittee Member Leffler to strike the permanent and temporary housing and shelter solutions work plan project from the current work plan. Chair Walsh.
I'll comment and then I'll vote. I agree. The Shelter Solutions several years ago was voted down by the city council due to a variety of reasons. We have a virtually new city council, so we really don't know the direction. So with that, I would say we eliminate this and wait, as Rick Loeffler did, for their guidance on this if they want us to get back into it. So yes.
Okay, Vice Chair Ewing.
Yes.
Okay, that motion, excuse me, but Subcommittee Member Bowden
Aye.
and Subcommittee Member Loeffler.
Aye.
Okay, that item passes 4-0. That motion passes 4-0 to eliminate permanent and temporary housing and shelter solutions from the work plan as drafted. The next item is the overall homeless strategy. This one, in my review of the Human Affairs Committee's work plan and the direction provided by the council, this one looks consistent with the general direction of the subcommittee. The only thing I would mention at this point is that there is some duplicity between this item and one of the Human Affairs Committee's work plan items. I don't know that that's an insurmountable issue, since two of the subcommittee members are in the Human Affairs Committee. I think that the coordination between the subcommittee and the Human Affairs Committee, it may provide an opportunity to delegate some of the Human Affairs Committee's work plan project to the subcommittee as related to an overall homeless strategy. But I'll leave that open.
Yeah, I've got a question. Is there any way that the Human Affairs Committee could just remove that portion from their work plan? And then it's not duplicate?
Well, at this point, their work plan has been approved by the city council. I don't know the specific answer to I don't know the specific answer to that question in terms of what could happen in the future, but I know that the council has already approved it. Maybe Cecilia has some more to say on that, but I mean, ultimately they have received council direction to go forward with that portion of their work plan as proposed.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough one. I'm looking at it right now, and it may have sort of slipped through the cracks, I guess, because it's more closely aligned with what I think our purpose is as a subcommittee. And I think we probably saw it on there and liked the idea of it and thought, or made the assumption that this subcommittee was working on it and it was part of the work. But I'm not specifically sure that the Human Affairs Committee is going to be working on it if it's not Bill and I. So
yeah, this is purely a mechanics thing. There is no chance that that both committees are going to be working on this and it's duplicated. There's no chance of that happening. So,
no way.
So somehow this has to just be explained out, Adam, whatever the best way you think it is.
Yeah, and I agree. I don't believe that independently the Human Affairs Committee and the Joint Homeless Subcommittee, I don't even think technically there's a way that they could duplicate this effort without the other group knowing. So I think there's a lot of coordination that's going to take place. We can address the anticipated amount of coordination in the agenda report to the council, but it may just suffice to add some language to this work plan project item that says we will work with the Human Affairs Committee, on this effort. And like I said, there's a very good chance that Subcommittee Member Bowden and Vice Chair Ewing will be taking the brunt of this in the Human Affairs Committee, which then reduces the chance of duplication of efforts even further.
Yes.
Yeah, I think if you put some kind of language in there that there will be coordination between the two committees to ensure that efforts are not duplicated or something like that. I think the council can figure it out.
Yeah.
Do we have somebody would like to make a motion on this?
Yeah, I'll move that we keep this item as in its present form, with the caveat that staff adds some language that will clarify that there won't be duplication of efforts between the Human Affairs Committee and the joint homeless subcommittee.
Where would you like that clarified? Are you directing staff to simply add something to the work plan, or would you like it clarified?
Just something in the wording, maybe at the end of that portion of our work plan that states that the Human Affairs Committee and Joint Homeless Subcommittee will, or I'm trying to think of how to put this. That there will be coordination between the two committees that will ensure that no duplication of efforts, something like that.
I think that's sufficient. What you said, that direction, staff can add some language that reflects those words quite well. So,
okay.
So I understand that direction. If you want to continue with your motion.
Okay, that would be my motion, that we accept this portion of our work plan as written, with the caveat that staff adds some language that clarifies for the council that there won't be a duplication of efforts between our two committees.
Okay, that's a motion by Loeffler. Do we have a second?
Second, I'll second that.
Okay, second by Chair Walsh. All right. Let's see. Chair Walsh.
Aye.
Vice Chair Ewing.
Aye.
Subcommittee Member Bowden.
Aye.
And Subcommittee Member Loeffler.
Aye.
Okay, that item passes 4-0. Let's see. Our next item is communication and coordination of homeless outreach. This one, I'll give some background. The purpose of this is stated as communication between all entities which may, from time to time, assist in addressing homelessness in San Clemente is vital in ensuring successful results. The purpose of this project is to analyze the existing level of communication between such entities and improve communication where necessary, and increase the understanding of each entity's role in addressing the impacts resulting from homelessness.
Well, isn't this the one that's directly going to be handled by the homeless outreach person when they finally take over?
I think so.
I'll jump in. I don't think so. In its current form, if anything, I think this one could actually stay in its current form. And the reason is because the goals of this one are to identify which entities need to be included in the local communication network. And of those entities, the subcommittee has identified the sheriffs, OCFA, Marine Safety, Code Compliance, Park Rangers, CityNet, and FAM, and any applicable community coalitions. While there's a not limited to clause in that sentence, ultimately the CityNet, I think in the future is going to be able to be replaced with that homeless outreach coordinator. I don't think the homeless outreach coordinator that position is going to require them to analyze the network of city staff and other organizations coordinating on addressing the homeless issue. If anything, I think this item just would simply replace one group with a new position being created, but the idea of of ensuring that everybody dealing with this issue, that the channels of communication are adequate, that still applies. But I'll leave it at that and let the subcommittee continue to discuss.
I think, in my opinion, number 4, which was the information gathering and presentation, I think is pretty much a duplication of this now, because I think that's what the idea of that was, is to create these registries and all this type of thing. So, and hand it off to the homeless coordinator, seems to me.
I would say that where there's a diversion is the registry is and I think that Gary, to your point, there is one part of this work plan item that is a duplication, which is establish contact information and create a roster. But beyond that, I think where the information gathering and presentation is kind of a item of its own, is that's going to be the list that is usable by, you know, internal city staff or perhaps the public. Whereas this work plan item would be for the purpose of establishing a group of stakeholders who meet on a relatively regular basis. And I think this is possibly I think one of the most important things that we're going to be able to do, which is to get this group together, including our forthcoming homeless outreach coordinator, to have these discussions and share information about what they're seeing out there so that they can unify rather than duplicate their efforts. So it's kind of a step above just having a registry. It's an active group, sort of a collaborative that, you know, works to support each other and to support our homeless outreach coordinator in reporting back to the council on what's, you know, what the status is or what.
Yeah, I see what you're saying on this now. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Tyler. You know, it is one of the most important facets of this is the communication, you know, and so I'm fine for leaving it in as it is.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion then to keep this work plan item on our work plan, and with the correction of removing CityNet from goal number 1, and I believe replacing it with homeless outreach coordinator. I guess, Adam, should we specify that or just strike CityNet, or
Let's just strike city.
I think we could put a blanket, any applicable city staff
okay.
term in there, just because I don't know what the final name of the position is going to be.
Okay, yeah. So my motion will be to approve this work plan item with the one correction of removing CityNet from goal number 1 and adding after any applicable community coalitions, just any applicable city staff.
Okay, do we have a second on that item?
A second.
Second by Chair Ewing. Vice Chair Ewing. All right, for the vote, Chair Walsh.
Aye.
Vice Chair Ewing.
Aye.
Subcommittee Member Bowden.
Aye.
And Subcommittee Member Leffler.
Aye.
All right, that item passes 4-0 to maintain communication and coordination of homeless outreach efforts with the language amendments discussed by Subcommittee Member Bowden. All right, that is the end of the work plan. So with that, we have staff has the direction we need to move this forward. The changes presented by or approved by the subcommittee are not so extensive that I feel any need to bring this back to a meeting before the city council, but I will leave that up to the subcommittee to make that determination.
So are we moving on to number 10, and then 11 would be the setting of the meeting?
Mr. Chair, can I make a comment here? I'd like to suggest, especially to Cecilia, that the job description for the new position includes some reference to working with this committee and in collaboration activities or something like that. So it'd be good to have our committee mentioned in the job description as a separate line item even.
And I will address that with the city manager and human resources.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'd be supportive of, approving this work plan as we've discussed for the council's consideration. Should I make a motion on that, Adam?
No, the only motion that we would need at this point is if the subcommittee would like this to be brought back to an earlier meeting.
No, I think we're fine.
Okay. So if there is, if that's not a desire, then we can move on to the next item, which could either be the determination of the next special meeting of the subcommittee, or we could do reports of committee members and staff prior to that. And I'll leave that up to the subcommittee.
Why don't we just do reports to committee and staff, and then we'll do the meeting after that.
Okay. Chair Walsh, do you have anything to report?
No, this work plan was enough. So.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Are there any other subcommittee members that have anything to report at this time?
Nope.
Seeing none. For city staff, since we have Ms. Gallardo Daly with us, do you have anything that you'd like to report to the subcommittee?
I have nothing to report, but I would like to let you guys all know that we'll keep you updated on the recruitment process for the homeless outreach worker position so that you know how things are progressing and what the schedule and timeline is.
Good, thank you.
Being here, Cecilia.
And I have nothing to report at this time either. So with that, we can go back to item 4A, consideration and selection of joint homeless subcommittee special meeting date and time. I'll start this discussion by just with some background information. So the timing of this meeting and the amendments made to the work plan put staff on track to be able to get this item to a city council meeting as early as the beginning of February. So I can't guarantee that it's going to be the first meeting in February because I'm not sure what the full agenda looks like at this point, but staff will attempt to get it on that meeting agenda. And I would assume it's going to be no later than the second meeting in February. So the subcommittee has a decision to make if where in February you'd like the next meeting to occur. And I highly recommend that we pick a meeting date that is after the city council reviews this project, because meeting beforehand, the subcommittee doesn't really have any direction to do anything at that point. And I would like to use the subcommittee's time as effectively as possible.
That second city council meeting in February, what date would that be?
The second meeting, the first meeting is going to be February 2nd. The second meeting is going to be February 16th.
Okay. So would the next day or Tuesday, Wednesday or Thursday, would that work?
Let me just confirm one detail here. All right, so for February, the 17th or the 18th seem like reasonable days. I think the 18th would be a little bit better. Because it's a special meeting, we have some flexibility in terms of posting an agenda, and should something come up, if this doesn't get to the city council by before the 16th, the 18th would give us a little bit of time to adjust to any specific council direction. Whereas the 17th, our agenda would be set and we wouldn't have any flexibility.
Would a 10 a.m. Time be good again,
Sounds good to me.
Adam? Because sometimes the staffers have issues.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
Would 10 a.m. be a good start time for the meeting?
10 a.m. would be our only option. There is a meeting later in that day that would conflict with the Zoom platform.
Anybody have issues with that time date?
Sounds good. Let's make it 10 o'clock on the 18th.
Make a proposal, Bill.
So I propose February 21st. Let's see, what would it be? February 18th
Yes.
at 10 a.m.
I'll take that as a motion and I'll second that motion.
Okay, so that's a motion by Vice Chair Ewing, second by Bowden, to set the next Joint Homeless Subcommittee meeting to February 18th at 10 a.m. Chair Walsh,
Aye.
Vice Chair Ewing,
Aye.
Subcommittee Member Bowden,
Aye.
and Subcommittee Member Leffler.
Aye.
Okay, that passes 4-0. The last item on the agenda today is to adjourn. And we would be adjourning to February 18th at 10 a.m. Is there a motion?
Move to adjourn to our special meeting on February 18th at 10 a.m.
Second.
All right, Chair Walsh,
Aye.
Vice Chair Ewing,
Aye.
Subcommittee Member Bowden,
Aye.
and Subcommittee Member Leffler.
Aye.
All right, that ends our meeting of February 7th. Thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you, people.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.